Welcome, welcome to my live reading of my book, Rebirth. No, this is not a published book yet. I'm working on the publishing. This is part of my editing process to read it out loud. So I thought I would read it out loud on here so that I can start gathering feedback and maybe testimonials about my story if it resonates with you. So that is what I'm doing. It's not what I usually do here, but I thought this would help since I'm reading it out loud anyway, to have it available for people to listen in and give me feedback. I'm reading chapter 11. So if you stumbled upon this video just now, just know I started at the very beginning. So if you want to catch this story from the beginning, you can go back. I created a playlist for this, so you'll have all of them in sequence in there. And if you subscribe, then you will know when the next one drops. And if you like the story, please like and share it so it reaches the people who are meant to hear it. All right, I'm reading chapter 11, and it's entitled Time to Push. Sarah woke me a few hours later to check on my progress. You'll be ready to push within the hour, she said, and then left the room again. Not long after, the lights came back on and Sarah returned with Evelyn. Prepare to push during contractions, Sarah said, leaning over the foot of the bed. I can't feel anything, I reminded her. How will I know when a contraction is happening? A flash of disappointment crossed her face. She told me I should have pushed during the one that had just passed. I shrugged and tried to push anyway, but she stopped me. Not now, you have to wait for a contraction. She turned the monitor towards me so I could see the spikes indicating a contraction, but it wouldn't turn far enough. Finally, she said she'd just cue me herself. Now, she said. I lifted my head and upper back from the bed and pushed. Her eyes widened. That was a good push. A few more like that and the baby will be out. By the second or maybe the third push, Rocco slid out. Her head bounced onto the bed, then landed on my right leg. Her beautiful olive skin glowed under the light. Her tiny face turned upward. She blinked, then opened wide, wondering wandering eyes the color of starlight. She had the classic cone-shaped newborn head, and she looked exactly like Mauro. The resemblance was uncanny. My head fell back against the pillow. All the work, months of anticipation, the pain, the contractions had produced a perfect replica of Mauro. I laughed at the irony, joy overshadowed by sheer exhaustion. My mom jumped beside the bed, waving her arms in the air. It's a girl! It's a girl! She shouted. I stared at the ceiling, feeling a twinge of disappointment that Rocco looked nothing like me. Then my mom grabbed my arm, tugging to get my attention. I looked at her. The overhead lights reflected in her wide eyes as she grinned from ear to ear, practically glowing. It's a girl! It's a girl! She repeated over and over, like a broken record. Her excitement felt disproportionate. I wasn't moved. I know, Mom, I said, impatient. Her enthusiasm irritated me. Did her gender bias really matter that much? This from the woman who hadn't wanted a girl, the woman whose father told her girls were a curse, the woman who told her sister to abort her baby when she learned it was a girl, the mother who from day one tried to dim my light simply because I was a girl, the mother who believed investing in me wasn't worth her time or effort. Did you know? She asked, her smile faltering. No, Mom, I didn't know. I just found out like you. I didn't have the energy to fake celebration, not with her. Oh, she said, frowning. You look like you knew, she pressed, confusion deepening the creases in her brow. No, we didn't know, I repeated flatly. Her tone chilled. I think you guys knew. She seemed to brood over the idea that we hadn't let her in on this little secret. Maybe I could have shared her joy, if not for the cacophony of echoes from my childhood. From this perspective, her excitement seemed performative, almost surreal. How could she be more excited than I was? Sarah picked up the baby and held her out towards me. I reached out my arms, but just before she landed in my embrace, one of the OBs swooped in and intercepted her. Another OB stood beside me, speaking. Her voice sounded muffled, like underwater speech. I could only make out something about cleaning the baby. Right now, I protested, my eyes darting towards Rocco, now wailing in the OB's hands. My heart pounded in my chest. I needed to hold her against my skin for as long as needed to connect with her, to reclaim something I never had with my own mother. This wasn't some sentimental whim. It was primal, essential. I feared that without a role model, I might lack maternal instincts. I needed skin-to-skin contact for her, for me. It was supposed to be healing. Instead, I felt powerless, my agency stripped away by the sterile weight of protocol. Rocco was whisked to a sterile table across the room, every nook and cranny of her body under investigation without any hint of tenderness or empathy. Her limbs flailed under the cold lights. Her tiny body was stretched out, exposed. Her cries echoed off the walls. Each shriek felt like a wound. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. She should have been on my chest, feeling my heartbeat. Her cries weren't just a protest, they were an indictment of the bright white lights, of the gloves, of the policies of the separation. I hadn't known that a suspected water break 3 days ago might strict monitor. Sorry. I hadn't known that a suspected water break 3 days ago meant strict monitoring and a loss of autonomy. Rocco, who had emerged quiet, alert, and calm, was now frantic, her body inspected without tenderness, her new delicate skin left bare against the hospital air. And I could do nothing. I couldn't hold her, protect her, or reassure her. My instincts were being crushed under layers of protocol and cold fluorescent light. The sterile room stripped away everything I knew to be true about what I was meant to be, a mother. One of the OBs turned back towards me, her lips moving in what looked like a lengthy explanation. I couldn't hear. Something about a vaccine in case of infection from the possible rupture of membranes 3 days earlier. It wasn't necessary. Rocco was fine. I knew it, but I had no voice. I wanted to scream. I just wanted a few minutes, just a moment of connection. Would that really change the outcome? How long will it take? I asked, trying to slow the dizziness swirling in my head. 10 minutes, she said. I glanced at the clock, then looked past her, past the OBs to Mauro. Panic bloomed again. I couldn't let her go alone, but I was paralyzed from the waist down. I couldn't move, couldn't follow, couldn't even feel my feet. I turned back to the OB. Mauro has to go with her, I said. Please, I need him to be with her the entire time. She nodded. Please follow her, I begged Mauro, locking eyes with him. Stay with her the whole time. Do not take her out of your sight. I needed to make sure he understood. He nodded. Relief softened the edges of my panic. I watched them leave, one after another, their backs turning towards the door. Then Rocco disappeared too. The metal door clanged shut behind them. I stared at it, willing it to open again, willing her to come back, but it didn't. The door stayed closed, sealing me inside, locked away in my prison cell. Time froze. The air thinned. Where was she? Then my attention shifted. Evelyn stood at the foot of the bed, gripping the umbilical cord. Her eyes were fixed between my legs, her expression tense. Then, suddenly, she gave the cord a sharp tug. Her calm shattered. Her eyes widened as the afterbirth gushed out with a sluggish, wet sound. She froze. Her body locked in place. She remained motionless, as though time had stopped. I watched her, confused, trying to decode the fear in her eyes. What had just happened? Why wasn't anyone telling me anything? I had a front row seat to the next disaster, even though my daughter wasn't in the room. Finally, Evelyn turned to Sarah, gesturing urgently. Sarah looked up from her laptop, her brow knit in confusion until she followed Evelyn's gaze. Then her expression changed, alarm. Her eyes widened and darted across the room, never meeting mine. Without a word, she rushed out the door. Whatever was happening, it wasn't good. And once again, I was left waiting. And that is the end of chapter 11 of my memoir entitled Rebirth. I'm reading chapter by chapter as a means of editing my book. I read out loud. That's one of the phases. So I thought I would share it here to start getting feedback. So if anything in my story is moving you, if you have any insights or feedback, or even a testimonial that you're willing to leave for this piece of writing, I would really appreciate it. Please like and share if you like the story so it reaches as many people as possible. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please be sure to subscribe so that you know when the next chapter drops. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next chapter.